Hello gamers, welcome to another edition of Tonight on Mage Hammer's Game Table, where tonight I am continuing my solo playthrough of a fantasy campaign using the basic fantasy role-playing game 4th edition rulebook. And in our last episode, the Argosian Wayfarers, who are on a mission to find missing scions of the Rothfield family out of Argos, unfortunately, sounds like they have stumbled upon the mystery of where the scions disappeared to, and it's not good. So they were investigating the Four Delves of Lendrum, which was the last known place of the scions who had gone in there to do some adventuring. At least that's what the Argosian Wayfarers were led to believe. But it turns out that in reality, they have been corrupted by chaos, and by all reports have been turned into mutants. Their guide, Kendall, saw them, recognized them, because she has been aiding them in trying to find the missing scions, and that does not bode well for the welfare of the scions. So apparently they've been mutated like many of the other cultists that they've run into on this mission, and now they fear that the cultists are heading towards the village of Gemstop, where their guide Kendall makes her home, to wreak as much havoc as possible. And so they have quite a head start on the Argosian Wayfarers, and they are making their way through the forested area as best they can. However, they fear they may be too late, and who knows what kind of havoc the cultists of Mordenmall will wreak upon Gemstop. So I think what I've decided to do is I'm going to say there's only a 1 in 6 chance they catch up to the cultists before the cultists have reached Gemstop, based on the timing and the movement and so forth. And then if I roll a 1, or if I roll a 6, they catch up to them. And for every number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it will be 10-minute increments of time between them catching the cultists or not. So we're going to see what happens. We'll see if they catch up to them, and if not, we'll see what happens. All right, so let's begin. A 1, of course. So that means that that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's 50 minutes. So they're an hour ahead of them. I guess technically that makes a lot of sense based on how long I think they were in the other delve anyway, but they weren't able to close the gap. So the cultists are an hour ahead of them. So they make their way through. The cultists, I am going to decide, have scared away any kind of creatures that would be between them and the Argosian Wayfarers. So there will be no random encounters. However, the cultists know that the Argosian Wayfarers will more than likely give pursuit, or at least be coming this way at some point. So they have left behind an ambush, and I'm going to see if our heroes are able to detect it. And yes, Ketho is able to detect it. And as they're hastening through the woods, which will also delay them even more, by the way, as they're hastening through the woods, Ketho's like, "Oh, I know, I'm breathing good, but I saw something move over." And then stepping out from the tree line and heading into this clearing area are horned humans transformed by the power of Mordenmall, as far as they can tell. These are not masks these people are wearing. They're horns growing out of their heads, and they come rushing at them, and it's initiative. So the cultists go on 1, Ketho on an 8, Dark Shadow on a 4, Lalandra on a 4, Kendall goes with Dark Shadow, and Thardor on a 1. He goes with the cultists. So Ketho's like, so he has 3 spell slots left. He is going to use a sleep spell on these folks over here. They all have to make a saving throw. They have 1 hit die each, so that means they save as fighter 1s. So that means they need a 17 or higher. And 1 of them makes it, and 3 of them fall asleep. So it'll be these 3 fall asleep. That's Ketho's action. Dark Shadow shoots an arrow at this last one over here, and Lilandra scuttles over to attack this one here. So Lilandra and Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow rolls a 12, which is, nope, actually it is she's got a couple extra, 14, which is a hit for sure, as does Lilandra. They don't have that many hit points, so Lilandra drops hers. And Dark Shadow almost drops hers. Almost. She's going to use a luck die to send it. So she rolled a 1. She needed 2. So unfortunately, she wasted luck die. She's not going to spend another one. This one is still standing. And then also, Kendall fires off a shot and just misses. No, hits. That's a 12. Has +6 as well, so it's a 12. So hits and finishes them off. That would have been that 1 hit point. So that cultist is also down. So then the cultist and Thardor all attack. These 2 cultists attack her. This one moves on Kendall. Kendall only has 5 hit points as per our last adventure. There's the hit point record. So the blue one's on Kendall. Kendall is missed, and 16 just misses Lilandra. And so that's that. And Thardor moves up on this one, attacking Kendall. Just as he's moving towards Kendall, attacks and crits him. Oh, man, that's 8 plus 1 plus a d4. Like, he's down. He's down and out. Okay. Defending Kendall. Okay, so it's initiative. The cultists go on 6, but Kendall and Dark Shadow go on 8. Ketho on 7. Lilandra on 3. And Thardor on 4. So Dark Shadow and Kendall both turn their bows on that particular one there. 12. They need 12s to hit. Dark Shadow hits, but Kendall misses. Dark Shadow does 5 damage. And then Ketho Arcane bolts that one. And is unable to get that off. And then the cultists attack. 2 attacks on Lilandra. And 1 crits, and 1 just misses with a 16. Needs a 17. So she gets a crit. That's 6 plus a d4 damage. That's 3, so 9 damage to Lilandra, which is actually, at this point, half of her hit points. Dark Shadow used her healing stones, but I don't think anybody else did, and Thardor is out of Cure Light Wound spells. Just a note, I noticed I was accidentally rolling a d8 for Cure Light Wound spells in the last episode for Thardor's Cure Light Wound spells, but they're a d6 plus 1 in Basic Fantasy. But what is crazy, looking back at the video, I don't believe I rolled above a 6 anyway. So that's how badly my dice were rolling in the last episode, which Chris, fan of the channel, pointed out to me in the comments. So thank you for that, Chris. Yeah, like I said, it was almost Chris-like luck that night. Okay, so anyway, so now back to the combat. So that was their attacks. Thardor rushes up, attacks that one that's been injured with arrows sticking out of it, and swings his mighty warhammer. He's very disturbed by these folks. And that is 2 damage, which unfortunately is not enough to take it down, and he is not going to spend a luck die. And then Lilandra is going to attack the non-wounded one. And she hits and takes it down, takes him down, her down. And then that's that. We're back to initiative. These are zealots. They fight to the death. No need for any kind of morale checks or anything. Whoa, 8 for Ketho, 4 for Dark Shadow and Kendall, which ties with the Cultist, 4 for Thardor, which ties with the Cultist. They're all simultaneous there. And the Laundra's at a 6. So Ketho unleashes a Arcane Bolt and misses. Cannot seem to get those Arcane Bolts off these past several parts of this mission. And then Melandra attacks, and she hits armor class 12, which is just enough, and takes him down. Okay, so they don't hesitate, they don't stop, they just keep going, which is going to say that set them behind an extra 5 minutes. So we're looking at 55-minute difference. They did take the time to coup de grace those cultists around the ground. All right, so that was the ambush. So as they start approaching Gemstop, I mean, it took them a while to get there. Took them quite a ways. I think it's... Yeah, so I'm trying. Oh, I can't remember. I'm going to say that the Delves of Lendrome were, I think I had them 2 days away from town. We're going to say yes. And if it's inconsistent, there was a time warp. Okay, so actually, that means that they're going to have to not rest, because it appears as if the cultists are not resting. So I'm going to have them be fatigued, and they're going to have -1 to their attacks if they catch up to them without any kind of rest. And that means they're not going to have time to replenish their spell slots or study or anything along those lines, unless, because the cultists apparently are not stopping to sleep, because they have not run into them as they've gone through this day. Now that's a full day without rest, so they know, they're just hoping they're going to come upon the cultists resting at some point. But unfortunately, into the second day, as it gets into be about midday, they're drinking water as they go. They're taking very brief rests to drink water, maybe, and slapping down some trail rations. But ultimately, they've not run into the cultists, and the cultists apparently may have some kind of supernatural abilities. So now at this point, 2 days in of fatigue, moving at a very fast pace, they're going to be at -2 to all their attacks when they get to the town and not have replenished their spell slots or their hit points. No rest, except they do have healing stones left. So Lalandra is going to use one of hers at one of their brief rests. So that's 3. Brings her to 12. Dark Shadow used her, so Ketho's going to use one of his on Kendall, bringing her to 12. But that's all they're going to use, because they may need them for later on. So they make it their way. When they get close to Gemstop, they hear screaming, sounds of battle, and yelling and screaming. And they come into the... they just charge right in, because they just don't waste any time. They come charging into the town square from this direction. There's as they've gone, they've found some bodies on the ground. There's a road intersects here. Little trail moving through Gemstop. Another little trail here. And it's in the town square where most of the carnage is going on. These cultists are killing people, but are also being killed by the villagers, who are not going to stand for that. They have to be hardy souls to live in this part of the world. And there's a clash back and forth, the villagers versus the cultists. And as the party approaches, they see a robed figure in the middle, and another figure is a girl in this robe, and this is a male, and he's dressed in full Mortimallian high priest gear, while the cultists are fighting the villagers. Most of the villagers who are non-combatants, of course, are probably hidden or dead by now, but the other cultists... but they are engaging the cultists. So what's going to happen is, as the party approaches, They are some cultists move to stop them while the combat continues on around them and in and out of the dwellings here in Gemstop. And this youth dressed in full Morton Maulian priest garb shouts out, "So, those who have violated the delves of Lendrum have found us. Well, you're too late. We are strewing strife throughout this place. Next, we are going to Kellen's Cloak, and we are going to destroy it. Listen, your Rothfields no longer. We are Mordenmals. We've embraced his darkness and his evil. It has given us power. It has given us things that our parents could never give us. And now we are using it to gain more power and to spread the strife of Mordenmal upon the world. And you are going to be our first true victims. These villagers we shall raise as zombies, and they will be our army. You shall be zombies who lead our army. Get them in the name of Mordenmal." All right, so these cultists all have horns. They've all been mutated, so I'm going to give them +1s to damage. And so they advance upon the heroes. So we're going to roll initiative. There is still, of course, screaming, yelling, and fighting going on all around them as the villagers fight desperately to protect their town from this encroaching evil. And so here we go as initiative. So 3 for Ketho. Oh my goodness, like 8 for Dark Shadow and Kendall. 2 for Thardor. 4 for Lalandra, and 2 for the cultists. All right, so Dark Shadow and Kendall. Dark Shadow's like, "Don't target the kids," and so they try to clear the way for the melee combat, and so they're gonna fire on this cultist here. Crit, Kendall crits, takes him down. Also, Dark Shadow's arrow thumps into him, and but by that time he drops to the ground, already out. All right, so they kind of back up a bit, and they might start pinging at some of the cultists attacking the town if they need to. Next up is Lalandra. She just smashes into this cultist here, swings her sword, trying to get to the youths. Hits and does, my goodness, 7 damage, I believe. No, she only has +3 to damage with that. So she only does 4 damage. She's going to use a luck die. And that's 8. That's enough to take down that cultist. So she's clearing the way. She only moved a little bit, so she's going to finish off her turn next to the Rothchild boy. Young man named Drivarius. All right. And another cultist falls. All right. So Ketho, of course, is going to use... He has 2 spell slots left. He's going to use one of them to hit this whole area with sleep, which is going to possibly, he's gotten good at it. He's gonna put it back here. He's gonna try to just get it so it does them and not Lalandra. So these cultists will be out of it, but the youths, the sister and the brother, and these other cultists will have to make saves. So we're gonna do the other cultists first. So that's we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are first level, so 17s they need. Holy moly, so their fanaticism paid off. So 2 of them fall asleep. Okay, so 2 of them fall asleep. And then 4 of them stay up. And then we're going to have the youth. They have a much better saving throw because of the black stone hanging around Drivarius's neck, and his sister is close enough that they get quite a bonus saving throw against this. So he's the blue one and she is the orange one. Oh, they both fail. All right, so they fall asleep. So much for that. And then yeah, okay, good. So those cultists are down. And that's kind of good because, yeah, okay. Anyway, so that was the wonderful and amazing Ketho. All right, so that was him. All right, so now we go to Thardor and the cultists. Thardor steps in front of Ketho to go take on these cultists here. This cultist goes after it. This cultist goes after him. These two cultists on Thardor. Oof, one hit, does a d6 damage, and does 6 damage. Yikes, ouch. He's down 8 hit points. And then the one on Ketho is the orange one. Missed, but 16 hits Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow takes 6 damage again. Ouch. So Dark Shadow is down to 14 hit points. All right. And that brings us to Thardor, who swings and attacks on a cultist. And he hits and takes one out. So that cultist is removed. Okay. So now we go to initiative. All right. So the cultists on 5. Dark Shadow and Kendall on 4. Ketho on 7. Thardor on 1. Lilandra on 4 as well. Oh, wait. She's on 6 plus 2. And Kendall. Yeah, here we go. All right, so Ketho is not going to use another sleep spell. He's got a guy on him. He is going to... Oh, man. He's going to try to cast an Arcane Bolt right in this guy's face. Let's see if it does any good. And he is unable to get the spell off. So he might take a shot. Dark Shadow has problems of her own, so she uses her bow, or her short sword, hits, and does 3 damage, which is not enough to take out her cultist. Forgot I was giving the cultist +1 damage. So if they hit Dark Shadow actually is taking... what happened to my eraser? I just had it. I must have dropped it. Okay. Anyway, so Dark Shadow's actually at 13 hit points. Okay. I don't think anybody else has been... Oh, wait. Thardor. He's at 7. Forgot about the extra damage. And I've been forgetting about their -2 from fatigue. Such adrenaline rush in these first rounds of combat that didn't matter, but it'll matter from now on. Okay. So Dark Shadow attacked. Even with that -2, she would have hit. All right. So Kendall is also exhausted. Kendall shoots a arrow at the one attacking Ketho and has a -2, so it's +4 to hit. And that is a 14, which does hit, and does 5 damage, which is not enough to take down the Ketho one. But definitely got its attention. And then that brings us to the cultists. The orange one is Ketho. Hits Ketho and hits Dark Shadow. Oof. +1 damage for each of these. That's Dark Shadow takes 2 and Ketho takes 7. Ouch. Dark Shadow is down to 11. And Ketho is down to 11 as well, strangely enough. All right. All right. And then the attack on Thardor. Miss. All right. That was the cultist. So, Lilandra is next. She moves forward and attacks this cultist here, trying to keep them from waking up if they even have that much. 11 misses. She gets a +7, but she missed with an 11. She could, you know what? She's going to use a luck die, and that would be enough to hit and take out a cultist. So she does. And then now it's Thardor's attack, and he takes out this cultist with a massive blow. And one's over to help Ketho. All right, so that brings us to initiative. All right. The battle is starting to wind down a bit as the cultists are slaughtering the people of Gemstop. Gemstop people are fighting back, though. Cultist 6, Dark Shadow and Kendall 7, Ketho 7, Lilandra 6 for the cultists, and 4 for Thardor. So Dark Shadow stabs at her opponent and hits and does, oh my goodness, not much damage at all. And Kendall fires at the one fighting Ketho. She's going to change her shot to This cultist here fighting Lalandra missed with a -2 especially. And then next up is Ketho. He is going to just retreat from battle behind Kendall. That's his whole action. Now that Thardor's there to fight. Lalandra attacks one of the cultists that she is fighting. And she hits and does 7 damage. And so that's just enough to wound that one. She's not using another luck die. It's not worth it. It's down to 1 hit point, unfortunately. And so there you go. At the same time, the cultists attack her. And 1 hits for a d6 damage. And that's 4 damage to Lalandra. So that brings us to 8. I just wish I could quickly see where my eraser went to. Oh, well, here. I have another eraser. I'm going to get it out. It's worth it. Okay. All right, here we go. So, yes. So that was Lalandra by 1. And now that brings us... Oh, yeah, the cultists are striking back. And one of them hit her, took the damage. Okay, good. And then 1 on Thardor and 1 on... orange 1 on Thardor. Missed and crit on Dark Shadow. Uh-oh. That is an 8 plus a D... Or a 6 plus a D4. That's 7. Ooh, not enough to take her down. She's going to save that luck die. But she is at 4 hit points. That was a solid hit. Solid hit. And then Thardor swings at the one he's fighting. And I think he misses. That is a 9. Luck die might do it, but it might not, so he's not going to risk it. All right, initiative. As the battle around them continues. 6 for the cultists. Man, they just won't give up. 7 for Dark Shadow. Oh my gosh. 1 for Lalandra. 3 for Thardor. All right. And then 3 for Ketho. Oof. Dark Shadow and Kendall. So Dark Shadow attacks her opponent. Oh my gosh. She misses. That is a 9. It's not going to be enough. And she doesn't want to risk a luck die there. So she misses. Kendall fires an arrow at the one fighting Dark Shadow at -2. Hits and does 2 damage. And that is not enough to kill it, believe it or not. And so that's that. Next up are the cultists. So we got 2 attacks on Lalandra. 1 crits her, if you can believe it. So that is 9 damage on Lalandra. That would be enough to take her down. She's going to have to use luck dice to reduce that damage. And she reduces the damage by 6, so only 3 damage. All right, so there's a luck dice spent well, is what we call that. And then an attack on Thardor and an attack on Dark Shadow. Thardor's the orange one. All right, both missed. Okay, so now that brings us to Thardor himself. He swings at the cultist he's fighting, takes it down. Yep, there it is. Yep, down. And moves on the one fighting Dark Shadow. And then Ketho, meantime, fires off a arcane bolt at the one fighting Dark Shadow. Does not get it off. He cannot get off arcane bolts and misses. Lalandra swings at the one of the cultists that she is fighting with her enchanted sword and misses. She has a +7. Oh, +7 is 12. Okay, so she does hit and takes out one of the cultists. Sorry. Yeah, I was back in +6 days. I was +7 now. So 12 damage, 12 to hit, and that does it. All right. So initiative. All right, so the cultists go on 2, Thardor on 3, Lalandra on 4, Dark Shadow and Kellen on 7, and Ketho on 8. So here we go. So, Ketho, Arcane Bolt on the one fighting Dark Shadow. Gets it off and slays him. All right. Thank goodness. And then next up is Dark Shadow and Kendall. Both shoot arrows at the one fighting, or they shoot arrows at other Cultists still fighting the villagers, not many of them left either, and they take them down with their arrows. We'll see if they do. So we'll roll. Dark Shadow hits, but she does not. Kendall does not. Kendall starts going to look for her mother. All right, and then all right, so that brings us to Lilandra. She swings to try to take out her opponent, takes him down. All right, and then that's it for those cultists. So after a brief skirmish, the cultists are fairly wounded. The villagers, those that are still around, they manage to take out all of the cultists on their own. And then the remaining ones start to circle around to try to, they start slitting the throats of any of the cultists that are unconscious, and they start moving towards the ones that the Argosian Wayfarers are here for. And say, no, these are ours. We shall make sure they face justice. But our mission is to take them back, and that's what we intend to do. Please, kill the others if you must. They've given their souls to Morden Maw. There's something up with these two, and we needed to get to the bottom of it. So please, we shall handle them. We shall take care of them. So, Kendall's mom, who survived the fight, bloody, her sword stained with cultist blood. So, is this the end of it, my daughter? Will these cultists come at us again? I don't think so, Mother. I think the Argosian Wayfarers have cleared out the Delves of Lendrome, where these cultists were making their evil plans and doing those evil things. Those are a dark place, such a dark place. And then Ketho's like, looks like this thing around his neck. I think this is the Sunstone of Shadowstone of Coriolis. I don't like the looks of it. I think this might be the source of much of what's going on here.
How's that possible? That was a... Oh, it was a magic item of Kiva.
Yes, and who knows? Maybe Kiva and Morden Maw got together on this one. I don't know, but I think I've detected magic upon it. It is giving off some weird radiation. I don't like it. I think we need to. I think we need to contain it somehow, because otherwise, I think it might start. I think it's the source of the mutations.
Oh my goodness! What do we do?
Well, okay, so we are going to bury that stone. We're going to take it into the woods and bury it. And then we will be the only ones who know where it is, and then we'll keep its evil out of the world for just a short time. That's the best plan I've got. Yes, I think you are correct, says Kendall. All right, so we're going to tie up these mutants. Just saying that word. And then we are going to go bury the Shadowstone. And then, well, I'm going to go bury the Shadowstone. You three are going to stay here and guard our charges.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes. In fact, you know what, Thardor? I think you should go bear this Shadowstone. I think you are the most resistant to its powers with your devotion to Kathor.
All right, I agree. I'll take it far from here, and I'll bury it, and I'll be back.
Okay, excellent. All right, let's tie them up. Ketho, can you take off that Shadowstone? I'll try, but I'm gonna have to be very careful. Dark Shadow's like, I'll do it. And she goes and she takes the Shadowstone, she takes it over to Thardor and hands it to him. He takes it and he heads off back the way they came, towards the Delves of Lendrome, but into the forest surrounding Gemstop. They tie up the youths. They get a closer look at them. There's horns sticking out of their heads. Their faces are starting to take on a bestial appearance, and there's like just strange brandings on their skin and so forth. And so they've tied them up, and Lilandra says, you know, I know you don't owe us anything. Oh, on the contrary, we owe you everything. I know that these cultists came here, but I think they were going to come here whether or not. If you hadn't been here, I'm not sure what we would have done. We probably wouldn't be here now. But yes, so many of our villagers and friends now lie dead. Was the price worth it? No, I know. They gave their lives to save Gemstop, though. We cannot let that be in vain. Well, listen, we need a cart. we need a cart to take these kids back to Argos. So I promise we'll pay for it and we'll return it, whatever you need, but we need it to take our way back there. Okay, very well. Indeed we shall. So they take some time. They've tied up them. They stay guard. The villagers go and start cleaning up the corpses, and they build a large mound of cultist corpses and set it on fire outside of the town. The smoke can be seen for miles. Eventually, Thardor returns, having done what he needed to do, and seems to be no worse for wear. And then they're exhausted, completely exhausted. But they know that they're afraid that the villagers may do horrible things to the youths, but
Thardor's like, listen, we're taking them back. But we need your solemn promises, your vows, that no harm shall come to them while we rest.
Yes, we understand. I hope you can figure out what kind of affliction afflicted them. But in the meantime, we're going to continue our cleanup. I'm afraid the inn is a carnage hall, so...
No problem. We'll sleep outside. We do it all the time.
And then, so they go, and they set a watch, though it's going to be really tough. Dark Shadow's like,
I'll stay awake first watch. All of you get some rest.
So they get some rest. The villagers themselves, exhausted after they've gathered all the corpses, cleaned up whatever mess they can, do nothing to try to come at the wayfarers. The youths wake up and they just start chanting in the middle of the night, Morden Maw, blood and strife, Morden Maw, blood and strife, Morden Maw. Dark Shadow punches them both in the face and shuts them back up. And so they, the next day comes, and Thardor has praise to Cathor, and his power is once again granted for a day. And the same for Kethos studying his spell book during breakfast, and he has that back. They used their healing stones overnight, or before they laid down to sleep, but it wasn't a lot. So I'm just going to give them about half hit points instead of rolling the dice and spending some time doing that. But between my house rule of the Constitution bonus plus the healing stones, I think half each is reasonable, just for the sake of expediency. Ketho. Okay. So he is, yeah, he's already there. All right. And then, so in the morning, as promised, Phoebe and Kendall bring them a cart. Once again, we thank you for helping us. No telling what may have happened if you had not been here. I mean, we are hardy folk, and we'll fight. We shall fight to keep our town what it is. But your help most definitely was appreciated.
Yes, well, you're welcome. And we're so sorry that any of this had to happen.
Yes, but that's the way things happen sometimes.
Indeed. Well, the next time we meet, hopefully it'll be under better circumstances.
Yes, I hope so as well. Here's some rations for you, if you need them.
No, we're good. We appreciate it. We can't take any more from you than we already have. We paid for the cart, but we'll still return it. We're renting it. We'll send it back.
I understand. Sounds very good. Thank you. And so they load the youths into the cart, and Lalandra starts pulling it, and they follow behind, and they keep going. They make their way to Kellen's Cloak. We're going to see if they have any kind of encounters, since those areas are, was it a 6-day journey, I think? So we'll see if there's any encounters for 3 days. So there's one. And we'll see if there's encounters on this. Nope. So the second 3 there isn't, but there's one on the first 3. And now let's do the nighttime. First 3, there's going to be a nighttime and none on. So they're going to make it to Kellen's Cloak with a daytime and a nighttime encounter. So let's see what the We'll roll 1, 2, 3. The nighttime encounter happens first. 4, 5, 6. It's the day. And so it's going to be the day encounter first. So let's see what they got. We're going to put it, by the time it happens, we're going to put them on the grasslands. So we're going to roll on the grasslands table. And what do we got? Ooh, nastiness. Okay. Okay, and also by this time, they will have fully healed through travel, because it's been a couple days before they hit this encounter. So I'm going to give them all full hit points. Lalandra at 31, Thardor at 28, Dark Shadow at 22, and Ketho at 19. Okay, so we'll do they have a cart. I used to have a cart tile, so I'm just gonna use a. I guess I'll just use. Oh no, yeah, I'll just use some kind of proxy here. I guess this will do. And Lalandra is pulling the cart. And I think I'm going to have 2 of these creatures, and they're going to encounter 2 of these creatures. All right. I have them here. I'll be very quiet as I look through my miniatures box. There's that one, but that might be not the greatest. I know it's got to be in here somewhere. There it is. Excellent. And then I'm going to, that's too big, so I'm going to use, I'll use this. All right. So, as they are wandering the grasslands, heading towards Kellen's Cloak, they will see if they sense the approach of this creature. And there's a good chance that they're not going to. Oh, man. You know, I guess I should probably use... I don't know. I'll find it. Nobody panic. Once again, I guess, make sure you have that elevator music going on in your head while I search for the creature. I know it exists. They fought these things several times over the course of their careers. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? All right. I wonder if there, I know there's not like an index or anything. There is a table of contents, but oh, there is an index. Let me see. But they're not going to list the creatures, I don't think. That's the problem. All right. I know they have the stats for this. I'm so sorry that it's taking me this long to find it. I do feel terrible. But just, you know, the Argosian Wayfarers are walking. They're walking. They're walking. They're walking. And they are making their way down the plains on the way between Gemstop and Kellen's Cloak. And they are about to be attacked by a couple of creatures that have significance to this group of adventurers. If you've watched my other videos, you're going to know what I mean here in a few moments. The strange thing is that I can't find it. And I'm starting to get a little bit miffed. I guess I could go find... Oh, my goodness. I think it's under that. Oh, is that it? Is that it? Nope. Oh, that's why I was looking in the wrong place. But I rolled something, but I'm going to make it this instead. Because this is more fun. All right, so after all that. All right, woo! Yep. All right, so these two things are going to attack. We're going to see if they're surprised. All right, let's go. Dark Shadow's an elf, so on a 2, she is not surprised. So she goes,
Where? I smell. Thardor, I smell deceivers!
and then rushing at them from behind some brush are a cat-like creature with tentacles coming off their backs, snake-like tentacles, and another one coming from this side, and it is initiative. Thardor's like,
No! They must die!
now, because he hates them so much, I'm going to give him initiative every round. Just for fun. 7, he's got like a 9 initiative against these things because they've killed him. He hates them, and he's going to take them down. So it goes Ketho, it goes Thardor. Even though his initiative is usually the last, he's always going to be first. And this time, Ketho, Dark Shadow, and then, these 3 are going on this simultaneously. So this will be interesting. Thardor's like, Gah! And he rushes over to attack this creature. Now, the first attack always misses, so he misses. Oh, -2 for every attack after. Then it is Ketho. We're going to count Arcane Bolt as an attack, and it's a miss. So he shoots an Arcane Bolt here. It automatically misses. Dark Shadow the same. Backs up a bit. Fires off an arrow at this one and misses. And then this one... it's going to attack Lalandra, and this one's going to attack Thardor. So they have 3 attacks. The orange one will be their bite. They have snake bite and panther bite. 2 snake bites and 1 panther bite. So here we go. They get +6. 22 and 22 for both of the snake bites on Thardor. So that is 2d6 damage, but also that's 6 damage, and I believe yeah, so it's a snake bite. Yeah, so they save versus poison or die. So he has to make 2 saves versus poison or die. So this could get dicey. So Thardor has great saves against poison. He needs a 5 or higher, and he saves both of those, so he does not die. And then the 3 attacks on Lalandra. Bite misses, snake misses, snake misses. They all missed her. 114. Pretty good. All right, so then that brings us now to Lalandra. She strikes back at the one attacking her. Her first attack on it is a miss. So we go to initiative. So they go on 6. Thardor goes on 8, as per always. 4 for Ketho, 4 for Dark Shadow, and 4 for Lalandra. All right, so Thardor attacks at -2. That puts him at a +2 total to hit. And 16, I think he hits. He does, just hits, and does 9 damage, which makes a lot of sense. Because, you know, he hates these things. They've killed him, so he wants to kill them. Wow. Okay. All right, so he hits it for 9 damage. Okay. And so that's going to put us at... next is the creatures. So 3 attacks on Thardor. And one of the snake bites hits. And 16, that also hits. The bite hits. So the bite does a d8, and the head does a d6 plus damage. So he's taking 6 damage, so that's 22, and he has to make 1 saving throw versus poison or die. He needs a 5 or higher. And he rolls a natural 1, so he's going to have to use a luck die. And that makes it a 4. He's going to have to use 2 luck dice. And that's enough to save him from dying. So lucky him. That's the name of the dice. 3 attacks on Lalandra. One of the snake bites hits. So that is a d6 damage. She takes 5 damage. Oof. That puts her at 26 hit points, and she has to save versus poison or die. Now, her save is not as good as Thardor's, so she needs a 10 or higher. Still pretty good, though. And she gets an 18, so she does not die. So I guess that's good news. And then Ketho. Ketho is going to Magic Missile the one fighting Lalandra. So that's 2d6 plus 1 damage. So that's 8 damage on the one fighting Lalandra. Automatic hits. All right. And then and then simultaneously, Dark Shadow fires an arrow at the one fighting Lalandra. She has a -2 to hit. And she misses. And then Lalandra attacks. She has a -2 to hit, which gives her a plus 5 total to hit. And she hits and does 7 damage to hers. All right. So that brings us now to initiative. All right. So 6 for Dark Shadow, 8 for Thardor, 3 for Ketho. Ooh, that's ugly. 3 for Lalandra, and 4 for the Deceivers. So Thardor attacks at -2. And he crits. He's so mad. He is so mad at these things. So that does full damage, 8, 9, plus a d4. Woo! 13 damage, the total damage that he could do. He hits a solid hit. Boom, right in the chops. Gorgeous. Dark Shadow fires off an arrow at the one fighting Lalandra. Misses. And then the beasts attack, the one on Thardor. The bite hits, and so does a d8 damage, but no poison save. That's 5 damage. So he's at 17 hit points. I hate these cats. And then attack on Lalandra. And 20 hits her with one of the snake bites, and 17 hits her with the other snake bite, but the bite misses. Her main bite misses. Panther bite. So 2 hits, 2d6 damage, and 2 death saving throws. So only 3 damage there. So that brings her to 23. Hopefully she has enough luck dice to survive this. All right, so she needs to make 2 saves. First one, she needs a 10. So unfortunately, she's going to need 8. So she's going to use another luck die. And so she saves. Poison there. And the second save she makes. Okay, good. No luck dice needed. And then Ketho, he shoots off 2 more magic missiles at the one fighting Lalandra. Oh my gosh, 5 damage. Ugh. Almost not worth the spell slot. All right. Okay, so that was wait. That was Ketho, yeah. Now Lalandra, she attacks, -2 because of the displacement of these creatures, and she misses. Okay, initiative. So, Thardor's first, Dark Shadow on 8, Lalandra on 5, the creatures on 5, and Ketho on 6. So Thardor attacks at -2. This time he finally misses. The creature is able to finally dodge out of the way. Next up is Dark Shadow. She fires off an arrow at the one fighting Lilandra at -2, but that is still a hit, but only does 1 damage. Okay, still better than nothing. And then next is Ketho, Magic Missiles at the one fighting Lilandra. And that's 7, 9 to hit. So it's 9 more on hers. And she attacks at -2. And she misses. Okay. And now the creature's attack. The attack on Thardor. Both snake bites hit. So that's 2d6 damage. That's only 3 damage. So he's at 14, but he does have to make 2 death saves. He only needs a 5. We'll see how this works. 6 and 11, so he makes it. Okay, it's good. Now the 2 attacks, or all the attacks on Lilandra. 16 misses, 16 misses, 10. They all miss. That's good. So Thardor's first, the rest of them. Ooh, 4 for Dark Shadow, 4 for Ketho, 1 for Lilandra, and 6 for the creatures. Oh my goodness. So Thardor attacks at -2. Ooh, I think he hit. 18, yeah, he hits. And he does 9 damage to his. That's pretty good. He does get a solid hit in, so that's good. The creature attacks him back at +6. Snake hits and bite hits, so he takes 7 damage. And he has to make 1 death save, 5 or higher, rolls a 9, so he makes it. And then the attack on Lilandra. Oof. So one of the snake bites hits her. And so she takes 2 damage, but has to make a death save. So let's see if she makes it. She needs a 10. 13, she makes it. Okay, so that's that. Dark Shadow fires an arrow at the one fighting her, fighting Lilandra at -2, misses. And then Ketho fires off 2 more magic missiles, man. He's just going to turn into an artillery machine, firing it off at the one fighting Lilandra. And he hits 8, 10 damage on hers. And he's going to try a luck die. And that's enough to bring it down. Finally, 1 down. So dangerous. And then Lilandra rushes over and attacks the one that Thardor's attacking. But I think that rule against the attacks is going to fail. Her first attack on that particular deceiver fails, yeah. Okay, so let me go to initiative. All right, so Thardor's going to go first. Lilandra on 2. Oh, man, the Beast on 5. Ketho on 5. Dark Shadow on 7. So Dark Shadow unleashes, or Thardor attacks at -2. Misses. Dark Shadow lets fly an arrow and crits. Beautiful. So that's 6 plus D4. So that's 7 damage. All right. Then Ketho, this might do it. Ketho unleashes yet another magic missile at these most dangerous of opponents and does 8, 10 damage, which is enough to bring it down. Oh, I need a rest after that.
Indeed. We need some healing.
He spends 2 of his spell slots to heal himself. And he heals 10. So that brings him up to 17. All right, and then, so they're going to rest the night, and between healing stones and all that stuff, they get their resources back, because they don't have an encounter this night, but they're going to have an encounter on the next night. And so they're back to full hit points between healing spells and healing stones and so forth. And we'll see what they run into at night. I think Ketho and Dark Shadow are safe. Yes. Okay, good. All right, so let's see what we run into next. All right, so it's a night. Let's see if it's going to happen in twilight or if it happens when they go to sleep. So 1, 2, it happens before they go to sleep. Okay, it's going to happen while they're sleeping. They're in grasslands, so let's see what the grasslands yield us. 7. All right, so if we look, all right, I don't think they've ever had up against one of these before. Maybe they did, I don't remember. All right, let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's not quite a creature that makes sense at night. So we're going to roll again. Well, let's see if we roll again. Let's shift. If we shift up 1, it is... if we shift up 1, it's that. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, we'll do that. So they're camping, they're guarding their charges. They've been giving them water and very little food, and then they have Ketho put them to sleep. But you know what? I'm gonna roll, and if it's 50% chance that the creature rolled actually attacks because they look like a superior party, and they don't. Okay, so the night passes uneventfully. Or you know what? Let's do this. Let's see whose swatch it would happen on. 1, 2, Thardor. Let's see if he makes a perception check. We'll just make it a surprise check. Let's see if he's surprised. He is not surprised. Here's the snapping thing.
Who's that? What is going on?
And he wakes everybody up. They wake up. And then nothing happens. He pierces around the darkness with his dark vision and sees some figures slinking away, about 6 of them.
You better run.
And then that's that. And then they make their way back to Kellen's Cloak, where they rest the night in a Adventurers Guild way station in Kellen's Cloak. They're not taking any chances, so they take their charges there and keep them there. And then they make their way to Argos and to the family. They send word. They go to the Adventurers Guild and they send word. And the representative, the halfling, comes to the Adventurers Guild and says, "You have some news for us?"
Yes, we have your children, but there's some slightly bad news.
Yes.
Well, they've been changed.
Yes, you see, it appears as if they were lured to Gemstop by evil, and they fell in with a Mordemalian cult, and they were transformed by the evil of a magic item that the cult had found in the delves out in that area, and it warped and transformed them into followers of Mordemal, and they assaulted a village, killed some innocents. Things are not pretty. Oh, well, this is not quite what we had envisioned. So, very well. They are unconscious. Yes, we've had to keep them unconscious for their own good. We've stripped them of all weapons and pretty much everything but the clothing that you see on them. We're handing them over to you. They are your problem now. Yes. Here's your payment. Tata and I shall get them out into a carriage, and we shall make our way back to the Rothfield Manor. Oh, this is a horrible turn of events. So horrible. Well, we thank you. Rothfield, thank you, and we, the family would wish to extend their gratitude and their payment, of course, but also your discretion. There's a hefty bonus there if you do not discuss what has happened with these children going forward.
No problem. We want to forget it as much as we can.
Yes, well, if you wouldn't mind helping us out to the carriage, helping us to get them to the carriage, it would be much obliged.
Of course.
So Lalandra and Thardor help carry them out. They're tied up. They put them in the coach that Tomro and Tata came in, and then they They wave as they drive away back to the Rothfield mansion. And so,
well, that was not exactly the ending I assumed that they were anticipating.
No, it wasn't, but hopefully those children will be able to be reformed back to their normal, but the evil that took them out there in the first place, I'm afraid that may take a while to be purged.
Yes, well, I say, saving scions is thirsty work. Who's up for a trip to the tavern? I could do it.
Yes, indeed. Let's go. I can't wait. I want some new tea. All right, then. Here we go. Argosian Wayfarers, to the tavern. And that's the end of that particular episode and the end of the chapter of this particular story. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so appreciative of all the people that come and watch and make comments and enjoy my stories. And so until next time, we'll see what happens next on my channel. But until then, keep on rolling dice and playing games. Thanks again. Mage Hammer out.